Hey everybody, welcome to Your Time to Thrive with Health and Wellness Coach Jason Stevenson. Hey Jay.
Good morning, sir. What's going on? Hi, everybody.
Not much. How are you?
Doing great, man. Cannot complain.
Awesome. Good to hear. I wouldn't want you to complain anyway. Uh
It's not really what the show's about. It's not
yeah,
really going to help anybody. And we're not really about the challenges. We're about the solutions, right?
absolutely. Yeah. So the challenges, the solutions, not the challenges. Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
All right. I got mixed up for a second in my head. I was like, we're only about the challenge. All right. What's what are we talking about today?
We're going to reference a video that we posted a couple weeks ago about getting rid of the scale, mostly because it's not about not looking at the scale. It's about not using that as a barometer. Because so often I hear people say, whatever we're doing, whatever the specific of the topic is, it's not working. I'm not losing weight. And that's frustrating for a lot of people. So what we try to help them do is recognize their focus and recognize what they're actually using as a barometer for their successes.
Right.
Because for a lot of people, weight loss is a goal, or changing their weight might be gain or loss or trying to change their body. But the process, like we've talked about, is trying to pay attention to more than just what those direct results are. Because it's what we touched on as far as the repeatable, maintainable. I mean, these are all the correlating aspects of the fitness process. What are you gaining from the experience is so much more, or should be, than just the scale, which is what is reflective on the scale. So for me, when somebody comes to me, I immediately say, well, then throw the scale out. If it's not working and it's not giving you what you want, well, then throw it out. It's a terrible barometer.
um What about the argument that you can't know if you're improving without that constant daily measurement?
It's a great argument, and it's a very valid point. If our sole focus and our primary uh, attention is around the actual numbers on the scale.
Mm-hmm.
However, since there's very large density differences between our fat and our muscle, which is why they say, fat weighs more than muscle. It's just denser. It doesn't weigh more. It's the same as a pound of feathers worth of a pound of bricks. They're all the same weight. The point is that those are not the only successes, and that those successes can be measured, and we can certainly use that, but we also want to use other ones as well. So that's my answer to that. I wouldn't rely exclusively on that. It's like, for me, it's kind of like the bank account, if we want to go back to that as an example, or school, which I'll use both. If I
Sure.
just look at my bank account and I'm gradually increasing my income and I always have a larger balance than I did last month, and now I'm saving money. If that is my primary goal, is to increase my savings, and I just look at how much I'm saving and I just focus on getting more money in my bank account every week, then I will see that as a success, and that can be successful. But if I'm not paying attention to my debits and I haven't been making payments on things, then I'm not being successful overall, right? Like, it's great, I saved money, but I didn't pay my bills. So then what was I really successful at? Was I successful at managing my money? Was I successful at managing the different facets of being able to save and spend what I need to be able to live and survive and increase my credit score and be successful in the long term? Then no. Then just looking at that one barometer is a failure, actually. Like school, if you use just your grades or just attendance or just your extracurricular, like I'm the star quarterback of the football team, I had a great high school career, well, how were your grades? Or maybe your grades are great, but your attendance is terrible. So you're able to regurgitate information, but you're not able to partake in the rest of the education of the process. So you weren't doing the homework, or you weren't participating in class, you weren't socializing with other humans and learning to be a better human. So the point is, use more than one barometer and don't get fixated on just one barometer.
Okay. What are other barometers? If we're going
Habits.
with, yeah, what are some benchmarks that you can look at?
Good question. So
Thanks.
it's subjective. Yeah. Well, you're good at it, man. And it ties into everything. So what are your subjective benchmarks? What are your subjective goals? Because while the goal might be to lose weight, so if that's the primary goal, then we're going to do that. But how you're going to achieve that is by hitting other benchmarks. Are you getting in your cardio on a regular basis? Is that improving? Is your recovery improving? Is your distance improving? Is your duration improving? How are you doing on your food? Have you been tracking? Are you following a good nutrition plan? Have you created healthy, repeatable habits with your intake that will help you achieve your long-term weight loss goal? Are you consistently getting into the gym or doing exercises somewhere that are gaining you lean muscle and helping you reduce your body fat? So those barometers of your successes are based in what pieces of the puzzle are actually being created during that process. It's like we talked about, how do we hit long-term goals? Well, you make small short-term goals attainable, and then you continue to move forward and not get sidetracked when you miss a little piece, or not get frustrated when the scale goes up a little bit one week. You continue to look forward at the long term. So use subjective barometers.
What is a good short-term goal?
1 week at a time, I'm going to achieve small steps. I'm going to track my food, or I'm going to start every day with a short, small, repeatable fitness habit.
Mm-hmm.
Set attainable goals. The analogy is always that marathon that we talk about. Nobody climbs Mount Everest on the first day that they embark on a mountaineering career. But you can certainly climb Mount Everest. You can certainly run a marathon. You just have to put one foot in front of the other. And those that have done endurance races and that have done things like that will tell you that there's a point where that's all they're focused on. One step. I can make one more step.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the great books that were written about like those really crazy like K2 climbs will say that it takes effort beyond imagination at some of those elevations to literally take one step. And sometimes that really should be all we're focused on. Stop focusing so much on that long term. Focus on today. What are you doing today that's going to help you get there?
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense to me, obviously. And so what other topics? Let's see, we have a comment. Let's see what that comment is. After each weigh-in, I like to journal 5 things I accomplished that week, no matter what the outcome on the scale is. That's amazing. Thank you, Megan.
Great, Meg. Which is a great point, because if you get on the scale, whether you're happy with it or not, there are still things that you achieved that week that you can celebrate. Focus your attitude of gratitude.
Absolutely.
What did you learn? Maybe you did have a failure on the scale. Then what did you learn? If you learned something from those failures, from those missteps, from those pieces that didn't work, then you're not failing in the long term.
Right. How do you set up yourself to not fail in the long term? By just making sure. What if you are setting these small benchmarks and then you're failing at the benchmarks? What do you do then?
You get help. You enlist friends, you enlist a professional, and you share that information. You say, look, this was my goal. I was going to go for a walk every single day, and I'm not doing that. And I was going to track my food, and I'm not doing that. So the first step is to reset and refocus, to kind of collect yourself, come back, sit down, write your short-term goals, write your long-term goals. And remember, paper, pencil, old school, write. There's a lot more power in that for lots of reasons, but write your goals out and enlist help. Talk to somebody about it, because one, they will have a different perspective on it, and they might say, well, you're making these too easy, or you're making them too challenging. Two, they're going to hold you accountable. You might need somebody to say, hey, did you walk today? Did you get up and go for that walk like you told me you were going to? Because that accountability is huge. we're terrible at being accountable for ourselves. That's
Yeah.
why I have a job, because most people are terrible at being accountable to themselves. And it's true. I don't do anything with people that they cannot do by themselves. I'm there to help them do it better, more consistently, and more focused towards their goals.
Hmm.
But nobody needs me to do a push up. You know, they're doing the work themselves. But that accountability, that reminder, hey, look, this was something we talked about last year. You're going to do that here. And you couldn't do 10 last year. And now we're doing sets of 10. You know, there's those pieces that we include in that. Yeah. And I will wholeheartedly agree with that comment, Meg. Meg says, forgive yourself because life happens. That's the other side of that mental battle. We're terrible at holding ourselves accountable, and we're really good at beating ourselves up. So that would be another piece of that, as far as what happens when you miss those benchmarks, or what happens when you fall. It's the old one, don't cry over spilled milk. If you trip and fall on the ground, we try to encourage kids at a young age to get up. It's okay, get up, keep going. Because if you trip and fall and you just lay there and roll around and cry and moan and groan, nothing gained. Absolutely nothing gained, other than you wasted some time out of your life.
Right.
Get up, shake it off, deep breath, keep going. It's going to happen, because that's the truth. It's going to happen. You're going to have sidelines. You're going to have missteps. You're going to have failures. The failures are what we learn from, if you're paying attention. If you're not spending time wallowing in it, if you're not using it as a self-defeating moment to just beat yourself up and wallow. If you're learning from those moments, if you're saying, okay, maybe I shouldn't try going all vegetarian right out of the gate, or maybe I shouldn't try running half the marathon today. Take those small steps.
Yeah.
Make it part of the process.
I think that's awesome. That's awesome advice. Obviously that is helpful to try to, you want to set yourself up for success, right? And
Of course.
when you have big goals and you try to jump to the top of the mountain, that's when you're going to get frustrated. And I think that the accountability piece is huge. If you don't have somebody in your life right now that you are accountable to, or that will hold you accountable, get one. And if you can't afford a personal trainer, if you need a personal trainer, call Jason. If you can't afford a personal trainer, ask a friend, a family member, someone to check in on you every day and to be diligent about it.
Somebody that's intense to a level that you would respect them. Somebody, not somebody that you're going to call and say, I really screwed up this weekend. I ate pizza and ice cream all weekend. And they go, yeah, me too. You want somebody that says, why would you do that?
Mm-hmm.
You want somebody that's a little tough on you. It's like the teachers that we all remember that were really hard on us, that we probably learned more from than the ones that were easy on us. I pride myself in being a empathetic trainer, but I'm not going to take it easy. I'm going to push you. That's my job. You're supposed to work hard for a trainer. You're supposed to be more accountable to somebody else than you are to yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely.
And I agree with that too. If you need help, ask for help. And if you are out there and you're looking for help, reach out, get on the website and shoot me a message. It doesn't cost you anything to have a conversation or shoot an email. And we can certainly have those conversations.
All right. So, what else do you want to talk about today?
We're going to talk about you today a little bit, sir.
No,
We talked
what
about
else?
this. Well, I want 5 minutes out of you today, real quick.
All right, go ahead.
This is a bit of accountability because we just put it up there. We had a set a goal last week for you to track your food a little bit and to get up and start moving in the mornings just a little bit, whether it's just stretching or yoga.
Yep.
How'd you do?
Great. With that, the food tracking has been the last 3 days.
Nice.
So, so I didn't start that until Sunday or whatever. But that has been good. I started. I had talked to you about focusing on like grilled chicken and veggies, as a diet and sort of changing things. changing, being more conscious of the things that I eat. Because what happened was, a year ago, a little over a year ago, I had decided to switch to a fully plant-based diet, and I stuck with it, and it was great, and I loved it, and it wasn't hard. It was great. It was amazing, and it was working. Like, I felt great. And then in March, when COVID happened, and I almost died in 2009 from H1N1 from the last pandemic. I have the tracheostomy scar to prove it. 2 weeks on the ventilator, all of that bullshit, and and
Scary shit.
yeah, and so I have like been outrageously cautious. But part of being outrageously cautious was I'm not going to the store. And I'm very fortunate to have a roommate who works at a grocery store, can bring home food. I've been also extremely busy during this time, because of things like this. And that has been a blessing, but also I haven't been preparing my own food that much, right? So I've been eating whatever is brought home from the store and whatever is made. And mostly it's good stuff, but a lot of deli meat sandwiches during the day and stuff that it wasn't sustainable. It felt rude and pushy to be like, hey, I know you're going to make food. You're going to go to the store and you're going to make food for the entire family. Can you please make sure that you stick to me being a vegetarian? That wasn't like, I was like, I'll eat meat. I'll shut up and eat meat and cheese. I'm fine. I'll eat whatever I can. Like, we're rationing at this point. So, but I was like, I still think that it would be a little extreme for me to go back to that without going out and getting my own stuff and planning and having the time to cook and everything. But I was like, what can I do? So I talked to you about this, and I was like, well, she works with a deli that can bring home grilled chicken every day and veggies, and I can do that. I can saute spinach and stuff. So I've been doing that, and for about a week almost, and that's been going really well. So the food has been great. Last night I had a sandwich because I was very low on calories for the day, and that was what was available for dinner. So I was like, I'm just going to do it. But before that, I had gone 4 days without bread,
Nice.
which was nice. And yeah, so I've been having like peanut butter on rice cakes as a snack, which is
Good
delicious,
snack.
by the way.
Good snack,
Yeah,
right?
and fresh fruits and veggies, and sort of like grilled chicken salads and mixes with nuts and stuff. So the food has been amazing, and I've been making sure that I've had my water. All of that has been really wonderful. I've been tracking it. The good thing about tracking it for me is that, as you know, when I start being conscious, I'm a big dude. The calories that I should be taking, even to lose weight, are a lot. So, like, I had to. It's hard to get 2,000 calories on grilled chicken and veggies. It's really difficult.
There's a lot of chicken and veggies.
It's a lot. It's a lot of chicken and veggies because you put in the veggie and it's like 20 calories, and you're like, oh shit. What do I do now? So I have to find that balance, and I'll be talking to you more about that and sending you my actual food logs. But the other thing that I did, which was to set up for success, is I used to have a home workout studio in the garage at the old house, and we recently just moved into the new house, and I have all of the equipment still, most of the equipment still. And what I did was, instead of waiting for all of the boxes and stuff that we have in storage to get out of the garage right now to set up a little area, I brought everything into my room. So those are dumbbells over
Nice.
there. There's a giant mat right here. This is a little messy because there's stuff on it, but there's the workout bench over there. The straps are held up by some clothes hangers. So, I was like, let's go, let's do this. Like, let's not have any excuse.
Yeah.
And so what I started to do, because of your 5 minutes is better than no minutes thing, is if I'm producing a show where I don't have to be on, like this show, but I'm producing it and I put the two guests on, then I just kind of sit and maintain it. I'm up on that yoga mat and I'm stretching or doing something. We have a pretty big backyard, and I started to do laps, and I counted how many steps equal a mile for the laps, and I did that several times yesterday.
Nice.
And so I'm just trying to find these incremental steps of what are the best ways to set myself up for success.
Yeah, I
And
love it.
yeah, so it's been a big week as far as that stuff goes.
Gold
Dana
star.
Dana says instant pot grains and veggies cook quick, worth the investment. I have an instant pot. It scared the hell out of me the first time I ever used it because I didn't tighten it well enough, and it steamed, and I was literally like standing there with a fire extinguisher. So definitely a good investment. I'm a coward though. Foods that excite you help you stay on track and set you up for success as well. You had so many wins this week, Ben. Keep it up. Keep at it. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Yeah. What's weird is that chicken and veggies excite me. I
Why is that weird? It's
I
real
love it.
food.
I seriously like. I also. I mean, Saturday. I think I had a Saturday, a friend was around, and like we ordered a gluten-free pizza. So like,
Nice.
it wasn't all great all week, but there was a lot of good, and so that was my week. Is that enough?
Yeah, that was great. Are you kidding me? You get a gold star, man. I'm gonna echo Dana on that too. Wild grains, whole grains, barleys, that kind of thing, couscous, anything that you can get that is real and
Yeah,
unbleached, processed, like lots of colors, nutty, whole grains, wild rices, things like that are going to be good starches and good carbs for you. And
right.
they're a good way to bulk up your meals a little bit. Is
That's
that
probably the
all?
only way I'll be able to reach that calorie goal for the day.
If you're just sticking to chicken and
Yeah,
rice cakes and
right.
veggies, yes.
I mean, let me tell you what, because you're gonna yell at me now, and that's great because I deserve it. But
Never.
let's go into yesterday's food diary. The goal or let's go to the day before. Because the day before had to add 2 walks and 2 workouts. So the goal for the day is 3,320 calories. That's
Right,
to lose 2 pounds a week or whatever it max is that it lets you set at. Is for me
right.
to get 3,320 calories for the day. I had about 1,500 calories for the day. My exercise put me at plus 1,019 calories for the day. So I ended up having another 3,000 calories remaining that they said that I could have eaten. Um,
So,
so I had like a net, like according to this, I only ate like 200 calories in the day. That can't be good.
so
Yeah.
here,
What does that
here's
mean?
a great. Yeah. Well, that means that the amount of money you put into your bank account was just barely sufficient for the amount of money you spent. You
Hmm.
know and this is a conversation that I have all the time because it sounds counterintuitive, especially to people that have been told to eat less. And under normal circumstances, and remember, whoever's listening out there and whoever's listening to this in the future, that not everybody holds to this. Okay, so some people on a nutrition plan are eating too much. They're eating too much crap. They're eating too much sugared stuff. They're eating too much fat. So the first steps that we take are to kind of whittle down quality versus quantity and whittle down our food choices. But if you've been doing nutrition and you've been doing the fitness thing and you've been thinking about your food and you're like Ben, who's eating and making really good food choices, then it is hard to get enough calories in to equal your caloric expenditures. Because the information that you're getting from that is saying that for your daily metabolism, you need to feed your body about 3,300 calories. And then you burn some of those calories, like you burn in excess of that, then you need to be able to consume enough calories to be able to fuel your body to continue to run. If you don't get enough calories in and you're in a deficit, then what happens is your body, your cellular structure, all of the chemical reactions that are an ongoing process in your digestive system, they have no concept of your desires to lose weight. They just know input and output, and they just know what they're getting as far as stimulus from the cellular structure that is your digestive system. And what they hear, or the message that they get when we don't eat enough to fulfill our caloric needs is, you suck at finding food. Because if you were a Neanderthal in the middle of the woods, and this was a couple thousand years ago, and you were wandering around and couldn't find anything to eat, well, your metabolism would recognize that you sucked at finding food or were incapable of finding enough food, and it would then store whatever calories you got in our system, and it would slow down your metabolism. So when you don't eat enough and don't get enough calories for your body to learn that it can burn those calories, I mean, it doesn't need to store any of them, then you will lose the weight. But if you're not, then what happens is on occasion when you eat, like you said, maybe I had some pizza, which honestly, if you have gluten-free pizza, I'm sure you didn't eat the whole thing. You probably were under calories still for the day. But
yeah, I had 2 pieces.
yeah, exactly. So on those days, even when we eat foods that aren't quality, your body is still taking some of that fat and kind of taking some of those extra calories and actually storing it because it has had history within your system that then sucks at finding food. So let's keep our metabolism slow.
Yeah.
And it's a counterintuitive conversation, right? Like it doesn't sound like it makes sense. Like if I don't eat enough food, then why aren't I losing weight? Like if I just get up tomorrow and I eat 1,000 calories, then why aren't I burning more calories? Why aren't I losing weight?
Right.
Well, it's because your body doesn't know. We're literally dealing with a system that speaks a different language.
So here is my question for you, and it's a loaded question. So my suggestion is you touch on it briefly, and we cover this entirely next week.
I love it. Go ahead.
Fasting versus eating immediately when you wake up and having small meals throughout the day. They are two things. One is the old way, start your metabolism early, eat small, like 300 calorie meals throughout the day every 4 hours, right? That is what trainers and nutritionists told us for years. Now intermittent fasting is a really big thing. Time windows, right? What are your opinion? Like which one? Just tell me which one I should try this week.
Okay.
I do intermittent, as you know, like I do intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
I usually don't eat until 1 to 2 p.m.
Right. So here's the answer. It is a subjective question because each person is different. Everybody is different in what they need. Because here's the bottom line. No matter what you do for a nutrition plan, whether you do keto, whether you fast, whether you're spreading your meals out, whether you're just eating vegetarian, you still need to eat your caloric needs so that your body has enough fuel. There needs to be enough money in the bank account to pay your bills every month. Whether you put that in at the beginning of the month, whether you wait 2 weeks to put it in, whether you time it or you put in specific types of money here, as we keep crossing these analogies, if you are not getting enough fuel for your system, regardless of the fuel source and timing, then you're not doing yourself a service. So my suggestion to you, because you've been missing your caloric needs, is to stop fasting and start eating more frequently, smaller meals, healthier meals, and get more calories in. Because no matter what you do for a fast, you still need to hit your caloric needs. And if your fast is making that hard to do because you're finding chicken and veggies, I can't get enough calories in this window, then it doesn't matter. This window doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when I start eating and when I finish eating. I'm still not eating enough.
Sounds great. All right, we have to go. Check out thrivetrainingteam.com. Follow
Love it.
Jason at Thrive Training Team on Facebook and Instagram. And he has workouts of the day. He has workout tips of the week every Monday. He's going to have food tips every Friday that we haven't started yet.
Yeah, because people have been asking about them. So if you have
Yeah.
questions about food, just ask, and we'll start shooting some specifics for that.
All right. Thanks, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Ben. I'll see you soon, buddy.
All right. Bye.
Bye, everybody.